Oh, we love that music. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We've got an unbelievable show for you today. I'm Harvey Free. He's Harry Glantz. Good morning, Harry.
Good morning, Harvey. Good morning, everybody. Is this our last show of 2022, Harvey?
It is our last
show before Christmas.
Boy.
She's the queen of all mortgages, Becky Alley. Hey, Becky.
What is going on? And thank you, everyone, for joining us on the last show for the year. And I'm just going to get into it. There is no one better suited to be sitting to my right than this beautiful person. She is the leader of leaders in real estate. She's literally been the best kept secret. And now she is Miss Independent doing her own thing. Miss Amy Rock from EXP. Everybody snap.
Nice. All right, Amy. Great to have you, Amy.
Thank you.
You're always, oh my God, look how much stuff she brought in. It's a 1 hour show, Amy. We're going to break down real estate here over the last 50 years.
Amy's been on the show before. Great information, very solid, loves what she does, very enthusiastic, and welcome again.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
All right, we're going to take all your calls for sure, too. If you're buying or selling real estate, 248-539-9797. Also, you can ticket text us. We'd rather you call. It's our last show of 2022, as we mentioned. Salutations. Be safe out there for 2023. We got lots to share with you. Again, 248-539-9797.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And it's been a crazy year. I mean, you're talking about the last 2 years. We keep on going backwards, but I want to kind of stay where we're at and look forward and what's happening. But 2022, as far as the housing market, it shifted very quickly. And if you weren't anticipating that, you're a loser because you missed it. Okay, because I think I just think
that's harsh.
Well, not like that, but like
hardcore.
We knew we were talking about it.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to happen.
Yes.
And then there was a lot of people in our industry. They're like, "Oh my God, what's happening?" When we already knew these things were going to happen, and so we're seeing that fallout a little bit right now.
We took some highlights of his show that we did back in March, and we said that these kind of things were going to happen, and it really is a transition period. So people were transitioning. The smart ones transitioned sooner than others, and what we're seeing right now is, you know what, business is really back to the norm. I mean, you can't look back. Forget about what happened in 2020, 2021 in the real estate market, because that's not going to happen going forward. What's going to happen going forward is you got to get out there and you got to do your business every single day, nose to the grindstone, old school. Let's go. Right, Aim?
Absolutely. I think this year, towards the later end, I became a counselor for my buyers, right? Because they're like, I'm just kicking myself because I missed those low interest rates and regrets. And I'm like, it's okay. We're okay. This is normal. Not to break out, that we can still find you a home. We can still get you in a rate that you're comfortable with through lots of creative, lending options. And we can still do this. Don't give up. This is a normal market.
I feel that right now is the absolute best time for a buyer to be in the market because there is so much opportunity. You're talking, people are getting caught up on the rates, and people ask me often, what do you think about the rates? I don't think about the rates because I'm here to help people get into their homes. And the ones that had the 3% interest rate, well, guess what? They're also could be in a negative equity situation because they overpaid for these homes. And now here we are in 2022 where buyers can get under asking, they can get concessions, and the interest rate is something that you're getting in the house that you love. You can actually make a real life decision. You don't have to run in there like a psychopath, ready to write an offer on something that you haven't even seen before just because you're ready to, I just want to win. I don't know what I'm winning, but I want to win.
Right. And people had fear of missing out. A lot of FOMO going on. So what happens is you put in multiple bids. You put in multiple offers, and there's 6, 7 offers on a house, and they're coming in hot and heavy within 4 or 5 hours. And then what you run into is a situation where, let's just say you're looking to buy a $250,000 house. It's listed for $250,000. You put in an offer on $260,000. Then somebody puts one at $270,000. Then it goes to $280,000. Then it goes to $290,000. And what people are saying to themselves, well, you know what? It's only $10,000 more. It's only $20,000 more. It's because they want it so bad.
Do you hear what you just said? Though that's nuts.
If they just thought out loud. Here's the however. The however is that right now, if you see the house that you want, and I said it on the last show, I'll say it again. If it checks the majority of the boxes and it's where you want to be, and you got to be there. Listen, nobody wants to hear this. People bought houses like Grandma Alley at 18% in the 80s.
Yep.
This is not. Nobody needs to be panicking, right, Amy? Nobody needs to panic.
No. And people, the alternative, what are you going to do? Rent and then pay 100% interest? It's a lot higher, right? And so as I'm talking to these buyers, now is still the time. If home ownership is your goal, let's not let that dictate things. We talk about rates changing all the time with, elections. They tend to go down again. We don't know. The market is unpredictable. So focus on, is this the right home for you? And I always kind of joke, my clients will say, hey, I need this, and this. I'm like, well, I'm a good agent. I'm not the best agent. I'll never get 100%. Can we find 90%? Can we find 80%? What will make you, what are your priorities?
I like where you're going with
what
that.
Are the boxes
checking those
checked?
boxes.
Yes.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
the wants versus the needs all day long.
Narrow this
Hey,
down.
those sales prices went up 40% during the pandemic. No doubt about that. Prices will continue to rise. We're going to see that. The inventory issue. Let's dive in that a little bit because 2023, we talk about the reasons why home ownership is going to look so great is because this little window now might keep you from paying $10,000 or $15,000 more come March and April.
Yeah, and when we look at how much your payment adjusts with the interest rates and if they are truly going to go up more, now is the time to capitalize. And I keep encouraging my clients, just go for it now. Take advantage of the programs that are here that are to offset some of those costs, these 2-1 buy downs and things like that, asking for concessions, help from the sellers, which we haven't done in so long. We have a lot of new agents at our office and they're like, how do I write this in my contract? I get that call a couple of times a week. How do I write this? I've never done this before. This is new to me. And I'm like, oh, no problem. This is old school, Amy. I got you.
Yeah. So I feel like to that point, this is an old school kind of market, but it's also new age at the same time. And this market isn't just one thing. It's technically a seller's market based off inventory, but it's a very much of a normal buyer's market because like Amy's talking about, buyers can win in this market. It's not just one thing. It's not over asking. You get concessions, you get the things, right? But it's also creative lending because there's been a lot of negative press out there about the rates and people just don't know that it's really like if you can afford the payment, it doesn't matter what the rate is. If you're paying $1,500 in rent, well, then let's get you in a mortgage that's going to be $1,500. You know what it is. You've practiced that budget. You know you can afford it. And with the 2-1 buy down, what Amy is talking about, that's a specific program. That's an old program that's now light has been shined back on it where for you pay a little bit extra closing costs. The seller has to agree to pay those closing costs, and that goes to buying your interest rate down temporarily for 2 years. So, for example, let's just say your qualifying rate is 6.25. You do the 2-1 buy down. That means the very first year you're at it'd be 5.25, right? The 2-1 buy down, or is that a 1-9?
2-1, yeah.
Okay, so it'd be 4.25, then 5.25, then you go back to your qualifying rate. But let's just say you do the 2-1 buy down and you refinance within a year. That extra money that was set aside when you do that refinance, it doesn't just obliterate. It actually will go towards reducing your principal on that refinance.
Well, and if I could just say, I so appreciate, mortgage lenders like Becky, because she'll figure out the client's budget and she'll work backwards. Like, how can we figure out how you can afford this? Someone says, I can afford $1,400 a month. All right, well, let's figure this out backwards on how we can get you as close to that number as possible. And sometimes it's a different property. Sometimes it's, okay, we need these concessions or this mortgage program or whatever it is. I love that creative financing mind where, okay, we will figure this out and figure it out so that it fits your budget so that you don't have to rent for another year, so that we can get you in a mortgage where you're paying very close to where you want to be budgeted.
So, Amy, that is the mortgage math. The mortgage math is backwards. You're looking for a $200,000 house. How much do you have to put down? Well, we have $10,000 to put down. Okay, now you're looking at a $190,000 mortgage, right? Because they're going to take the 10 from their bank account and put it down as a down payment. Okay, now how much are closing costs? How much are all these other things? So you really back into it. And I also want to say, and Becky can back this up as well as Harvey, is that the property has to be right for the buyer. It has to be a situation where you just heard Becky say it. It's got to work for you. We're not on here saying buy a house now, buy a house now, buy a house now. Mm-hmm. We're saying is that if you're looking to buy a house and you find a house that's right for you, now's a good time. Because if you wait, maybe prices continue to go up. But it has to be right for you, and we'll set you up for success, right?
1,000%. And because we're not here, like when I'm having these initial conversations, and I know Amy feels the same way, you can't start the conversation about buying a house soon enough because we need to know what is your credit situation, where you're looking at with credit. And at the same time, I just talked to someone yesterday and I was like, look, I don't care if you buy a house now or in 5 years from now. I'm still here to help you because we're not here to sell. We're here to help. And what is really cool about this market is they do not have to rush in and they can make really educated decisions to know that it is the right house for them.
All right. Were you an exhausted buyer or you know a friend or a family that overbid and did all that last year, the year before? You don't have to do that now. Come on back and join us. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, 916. If you're just joining us, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We are powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289, Equal Housing Lender. You can call us live here on the show up till 10 o'clock. Of course, we have sports following us. A lot of great stuff happening here in Detroit. I went out to the Pistons game last night, and what a great time to get down to LCA. And thanks, Steve and Ivan, for the quick invite. I think I told them I was giving them a quick name drop. A lot of fun here as Detroit's a sports town. We got the Lions Gym, and we got that positive vibe. We got Michigan football.
Super Bowl for the Lions.
We got Amy Roth in here with eXp Realty. And, of course, I'm Harvey Freed, Harry Glantz, Becky Alley, taking your calls. 248-539-9797. It's mortgages and real estate and a lot of exciting things. Again, the market did cool a little bit. We said it was a lukewarm market in 2022, but we see the appreciation there. The appreciation's holding up, lack of inventory. Real quick, Fed funds rate doesn't always mean that the interest rate, the mortgage rate's going up, but they did bump up 0.5%, Harry. This inflation thing, this recession thing, Amy, people need to get into housing for all the right reasons. And it's so fun to work with first-time home buyers. So just to really get the show going here again, and if you want to call in, 248-539-9797. Isn't it the best thing? I had some new buyers that closed recently. How about that feeling and really getting them excited and prepared for that purchase?
So, yeah, first-time home buyers are like my heart. I feel like when I was 21, I bought my first house. 22, I bought my first house. I was spending $60,000. That was my budget.
Hey,
it was
all
Mishta.
right.
And I was renting in Dearborn, and I could get in a house in Lincoln Park for $60,000. And I was like, hey.
Yeah.
And my real estate agent, you would have thought I was spending $500,000 the way he treated me. Jim Wallen, I know he's out there somewhere. I messaged him after the fact. I said, hey, I've become a real estate agent. I am 100% paying it forward. So when I'm working with every new buyer, I want the best investment possible. And I'm like, bring your parents. They need to know I am taking care of you like you're my own. We're going to make sure you are structurally sound. It may be ugly. It may be grandma's house, but this thing's going to be solid and you're going to make it beautiful over time. And we're going to make sure, there's no foundation issues. We're going to make sure you have, the expensive things are done, the things that aren't pretty, the furnace is new, something like so that they're getting into a great home that they can build a future in.
I love that. So, and what you're describing is you had that experience for yourself. And it could be, and unfortunately, some of these buyers, they have good experience and some of them have bad experience. And sometimes they get to the closing table and they have no idea what happened. And I remember when I started my career also, I sat in a room with, it was boiler room kind of status. And I was like, oh my God, these people, I want nothing to do with this. Because I'm like, you're talking to my grandma on the phone right now. And I just didn't want no part of it. And in those moments, right, I identified very quickly early on in my career, as Amy's describing, the person that I wanted to be and the person that I did not want to be in this business. And, when you align with someone like Amy, when you're looking at houses with Amy, you feel the difference. You see the difference. You hear the difference. And the problem is that there's so many buyers that are aligned with people that they don't know any better. So that's why it's very important to get in line with the right people that are going to help you find that house, the people that care. Because Amy doesn't care about the money. I mean, obviously, we're going to make money, and that's fine. But she is more so to help, and that's why I want to. When I say she's underrated, she is so she's literally been. She needs to be more. You hear about people all the time, but you do not hear about Amy Roth. But everyone follows her where she goes. She's like the Pied Piper. Why? Because exactly what she just said. She means what she says. She does what she means. And she's out here to help people and get them in the house. And immediately she knows that if mom and dad are going to be like, I don't know, I'm going to rub this marble down the floor and it went crooked. She's like, well, let's get that out of the way.
Yeah.
But Becky, you remember your experience when you bought your first house. Amy, you obviously do. And you go ahead and you take those experiences and I call Harvey the master of new construction. He's built more houses in his life than most people ever will. Okay? But you take that experience, and experience is the best teacher, by the way, and you go ahead and impart all that experience and wisdom that you have, because nobody will ever, you might forget a lot of things, but you're never going to forget how you feel when you do certain things and how you felt when you bought your first home. It was a great experience for you, right? And it really propelled you to do what you do and how you treat people.
It did. And I feel like that particular instance when I purchased a house didn't make me want to become a realtor, but it kind of just evolved over time. But once I did, I had that mindset. There is no way I'm not going to treat every single person I come across. I mean, I would have the $70,000 buyer and she would refer me to her brother, her dad. This is real life. Her brother, her dad, she just bought another house. It was like the whole family. I'm their family realtor. They'll just say, no, everybody's using you. There's not even an option. And like, what an honor. And that makes me like happy to my soul because I know that they know I'm going to treat them great because I care. I'm going to be responsive. I'm going to be on time. I'm going to just take the very best care like it's family.
I don't
like
know
that
that
loyalty.
anybody wakes up, Harvey, or when they come out of the womb, they want to be a realtor or a mortgage person.
I feel like we need to be more at job fairs because
I wanted to be a center fielder for the Detroit Tigers. It just didn't work out for me, all right? So I had to have an alternative plan. I had to go to plan B. But the bottom line is that you treat people well. And we always say that the money doesn't lead, money follows. And if you are successful, you're going to make the money. Forget about the money. The money is not the driver. Okay, when I say that, of course, we want to make money for our families and support our families and everything like that. But it's about that repeat business. It's about the referrals that you get. We were talking at the break. Bottom line is that we're further along in our careers and we do things differently, but we want to give other people an opportunity to succeed. So therefore, we're always trying to grow our business. And we're always trying to set the proper example and let people go ahead and fly, right? Yeah. Spread your wings and let's go.
All right, guys,
sure.
I want to dive into the last 2 years and now moving forward here, 2023. This show is going to be bringing you some crazy positivity. The outlook for housing looks like it's going to be dynamic again. Again, a little cooler market than this crazy pandemic stuff. But also, like, people did overpay, let's say, a little bit, but not really. Their plan, they stuck with it, Becky. That plan they put together to, hey, get that first house, and because it was all done, they were going to stay there for 3 to 5 years. That house has built-in equity now. So, again, the plan that you did in 20 or 19 or 2021, 2022, or coming forward 2023, it's going to work. It's going to work, but you got to have a plan. And I think we have a little trickle of interest rates. This little lack of inventory is going to drive the prices up. This is why we're so optimistic about moving forward.
Yeah, I don't have any worries. My goal in my business was to take great care of people, build up my referral base, but also just be consistent. Like, I'm not just sitting here hoping every deal falls in my lap. It's part of it is, reaching out to other people, networking. It's making the tough calls. People want business to come to them. You have to make effort. This is your business, and we're 100% our own owners. We're 100% our own managers, and we want to work hard for ourselves. And so, that's part of my plan for the year going forward is just to really focus on just growing and growing. And again, it's not, I have all the real estate coaches I've talked to and people that I talk to, money is never my focus, right? I want to give great customer service, work with great people, and enjoy life, treat people good. So.
What you're describing is something that I truly believe heart always beats talent. And you're someone, though, that has it both. You have the heart and you have talent, because you have people that are just naturally gifted at things and they just squander it because they're not putting in the reps. What you do in private shows up in public, and you are literally the testament of that with everything that you say. And and it's true. It's not even I want our listeners to hear what she's saying. This is really her true, authentic self. She is not out here trying to make $1 million. She can sell over 100 homes, and she's low key if that happens, that's great. And she's doing it consistently. She's putting more numbers up than some of the highest producers that actually are blowing up your social media. And here she is just totally under the radar. Why? Because she genuinely cares about her people. So I want you to kind of touch on a little bit, because you've got 30% of agents are going to be getting out of the game, right? Yeah. And you got 60% you're talking about, they're going to be struggling. So what about the rest of us?
Okay, so the 10%, we're going to dominate. If we stay true to what we've done, this has been this easy flow for 3 years. Now it's time to go back and bust our butts, right? Mm-hmm. Commitment, making the calls, doing the tasks that it takes to be successful. And that's one of the things I love about the company that I'm at. I'm there's all these new agents who don't know any different than what's happened the last couple of years. And I'm okay, we got to go old school, people. Are you with me? Let's build our business
But they
together.
don't know what old school is. They don't know what old school is.
Literally yesterday, I'm doing a training in our Wyandotte office, and I'm I want to help you all. I want to help you all build your business so you are market proof. It doesn't matter where the market is.
Oh my God, I love that.
All right, we're up against our quick break here. When we come back, all of your calls, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. All righty. That's a good one here.
Yeah.
All right. You listen to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, 931. Yeah, we're in the dead of winter coming up here in a couple days, actually, but cold weather coming our way. Definitely be safe out there on the roads. Enjoy your weekend. Have a wonderful Saturday night. I got down to Detroit last night. You know the fun thing about it, Harry? Always taking Woodward North back. I still do it to this day. There's no choice. I'm going to go through, and we, of course, drove through some subdivisions on the way back last night. Always doing that thing.
Yeah,
One of your favorite things to do. Yeah.
I'll be down there tonight. We're going to have a good time. I'm going to go see Tina Turner.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah, at
yay.
the Opera House. Hell yeah. it'll
Good
be fun.
Detroit buzz. We got the Lions game tomorrow against the Jets.
Go to the Super Bowl.
Tons of cool stuff
Going to the
happening
Super Bowl.
here.
It's going to happen one of these times. I'm going to keep saying it till it does.
Amy Robb joins us from eXp Realty here on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Again, if you're thinking about buying a house, you have family members, your son, your daughter, your aunt, your uncle, your cousin. Let us help you with that, even for sale by owner transactions. Sometimes we got to get you hooked up with a great realtor so that they can help you with all the paperwork or get things figured out, or there might be a lot of family members involved and you need a third party. So definitely get in touch with us. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-low rate, the best mortgage banker here in the studio, 248-539-9797. I always like to break down some numbers and stuff too. We're going to get to some calls too, but let's just real quick, Becky, because of all the programs that we offer every program. We're a true mortgage banker. Becky, I know you do the special Brower Smart program. We're kings and queens over there on Michigan. We're offering 7,500, 10,000 in so many zip codes across the state of Michigan. And Beck, let's just talk a little numbers. I mean, 3.5% down FHA, 0 down USDA, VA 0 down. We know how to do all these programs.
And not everybody does. And that's the thing, is not every lender is the same. It's like Sesame Street, right? One of these things is not like the other. So you need to be with the right people that know what they're doing, that can also press all the buttons. So when we're doing a pre-approval, like we talked about earlier in the show, we work backwards. We find out what your budget is. If you could pick a number, I'll ask them, what would you like your payment to be, and what do you think kind of house you want to look for? And then from there, I take that information and I figure out, can they do that? And the reality is, most people, it's not the payment that's the problem. It's the funds for closing. Because a lot of people that have been renting, they weren't disciplined. No one taught them how to practice and budget and things like that. So we have these amazing down payment assistance program. There's MISJA, that's the most popular one, but we also are a test program. We have a program, we're one of the few in Michigan, if not the only one. It's a conventional, it's a grant. That means it's truly forgivable. $7,000. Free money. You can get up to $1,000 of your title insurance credited, plus the appraisal fee. So these are things that no one would know about it unless you're an educated lender and you're looking for those kinds of things.
Huge.
So,
It's a grant. You don't have to pay the money back. You qualify. These are income-based programs, but most of the families do qualify on them, and you don't know if you don't know. Hey, before we go
you got
to
to
you,
start
Amy,
the conversation.
bingo. Let's go to Kelly real quick. Kelly, I hope you're buying or selling a house. Good morning and welcome to our show.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey.
Hey.
Who are you, Kelly?
Hi, I am actually not buying or selling. I work with Becky and Amy, and I just wanted to call in and say how grateful I am to absorb their knowledge. And I actually do have a question for the both of them, if I may.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so with the volatile market that we have seen, I'm just curious to have an opinion from the both of them on how 2023 is going to look in the beginning of the year.
You can go first, and then I'll follow up.
Okay, so I think what is trending right now is that the actual market is going to be stable, which we haven't seen in a while. Usually it was listing heavy, then buyer heavy. And right now I just feel like it's more balanced than it's been in a very long time. I have not seen this in, I don't know, in my career, honestly. It was so listing heavy and then so buyer heavy. And now I feel like, oh my gosh, is this what normal looks like? Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to continue. I would say probably at least till spring, summer. But again, if I had a crystal ball in real estate, right?
All right. My thought is like a little bit of both, but I'm actually going to go a little bit on the opposite side, because you can see that the Fed, I feel like they went a little bit too heavy on these rates. And now that because they're going off of yesteryear's inflation data. So now that this year's catching up, inflation has calmed down. So you can see the rates are actually starting to pull back a little bit. And because of that, when the rates settle, I think in maybe the second quarter of 2023, because we still technically are in a seller's market with a lack of inventory, we are going to see another seller's market that's going to be to the extreme just a little bit. There's going to be some refinances coming into play. And that's why it's so important for buyers, if you're out there listening, this is your magic moment. Because if these rates come down a little bit, even more people are going to flood it. You're going to have that. You're going to have more competition. And right now is that perfect pocket where you have affordable interest rates. You can get into the house with these great programs, and you don't have a lot of competition.
It's true. It is kind of quiet. It's like crickets, for like my listings. I'm like, oh my gosh, like we only had 2 showings in a week. Sometimes we would have 2 in an hour overlapping, so it's a huge adjustment for
sure.
So
Kelly, what do you think the market's going to be like the first part of 2023?
I agree. It's going to be a little more stable than what we have seen. And, the pros come out in this type of market. So we've seen a lot of new agents, and I recently came across some data where 70% of the agents that are in the market have not been in a normal, quote unquote, normal market. Mm-hmm. So how many agents are going to take the opportunity to learn from somebody like Amy or Becky and step up to the plate, or are they just going to fall off? So, I've heard this before. We're stepping into a pro market, and I'm excited for it because the people who have, been in this type of market before really get to shine. And I'm so happy to see a more normalized market, if you will, because, we're not taking our clients to make these really rash decisions, and they have a little more time to make a more educated decision. And education comes from people like Becky, who can, describe these products that are out and available instead of just making a decision because an offer has to be in 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So this is something to look forward to.
Yeah, well, good. Well, we appreciate your call, and thank you very much for sharing your knowledge. And we do believe that the next 90 days are going to be, they're going to be stable. But then as you see the weather started getting better, March, April, you're going to find out. And people are going to be surprised that the buyers are going to come out in mass. They really will.
We really think so. There's a lot of families formulating, and they're going to need housing. Thanks for the call, Kelly. Great stuff.
Yeah, that was Kelly Thomas, EXP.
There you go.
I think we know Kelly. Kelly's been on,
Yeah,
right?
Kelly's been on the show, too. Yeah.
The housing market is always a lot of fun and exciting, especially for the first-time people. But nonetheless, second- and third-time home buyers are excited about new furnishings and stuff and the quality of the home and how to make it your home and the features that you can put in. And, I've got a couple of people now that are buying some fixer-uppers a little bit, but their vision for the house. And that's the exciting part. And even with young kids, you can square off a room in the basement and you black out the ceiling, and all of a sudden you've got like some high-tech computer room. And these are the spaces that families are looking for. So, again, how to make that house your own. You got to deal with professionals. You got to deal with someone like Becky who's bought and sold housing, and they've already fixed up a house or two. And I really feel like that experience is really how you get your team together. You got to have that knowledge. Otherwise, you're looking at a house with someone who's never even sold one before. It's odd.
Absolutely. And the difference in this market is going to be the people, the skill sets, the experience they provide, the market knowledge, and who they're aligned with. An agent, a buyer's agent could have the best experience in the world, give the buyers everything that they want. I joke, make it like Disneyland. You want to make them have the best experience, which to me, Disneyland isn't really all it's cracked up to be. To me, it was like sweating and complaining and my feet hurt.
Hot day.
But maybe more like a tropical island looking out the window at the snow coming down. But you want to make it the best possible experience. But that means once we find that great house, you hand it to a great lender who's going to follow up, who's going to do the work, who's going to make sure, they're putting out fires. I was talking to Becky on Friday. She's like, I'm putting out fires. I'm like, nothing like a Friday fire. She's like, a Monday fire is worse. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's true. Monday fire is worse. But I had some really good wins on Friday. I had really tough transactions. And each of those phone calls that I made, actually 3 of them, the buyers were so elated and they started crying because you're talking about some of this is generational doubt. No one in their house has ever owned a home before, and they're the first ones, and they've never thought they could do it. And to be a part of that milestone moment is so exciting. And even what Kelly was mentioning, I've been waiting for a market like this because this is where the players versus the pretenders come out to shine. And what Amy was talking about, you have experienced people creating experiences for our buyers.
Problem solvers, right?
Problem solvers.
Something comes up and I'm like, all right, and that's my job.
Pivots,
I get calls constantly okay, how are we problem solving this? There's always a way to solve it. There's always a way to solve it.
Yep, I call it the pivot or parage mentality.
Perfect.
Yeah, Amy, we had one of our realtor partners, our favorite realtor partners, on our podcast a couple of weeks ago, and this was really shocking to me. It was shocking, but it wasn't shocking. And they said the following, that one of their favorite things about lenders are they're not looking for a lender that just works 8:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday.
What's that?
I'm saying, huh?
That's a thing.
There are lenders who only work 8:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday. We do our best work late in the afternoon and into the evening and on the weekends.
Yes.
Are you kidding? If you're a realtor or a lender and you're not working the weekends, you're not working.
Exactly.
See y'all.
All right, we're up against a quick break here. When we come back, all of your calls, 248-539-9797. Don't go anywhere. We are in our last segment of 2022. We want to thank all the listeners for listening to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show, all the great real estate agents, title companies, appraisers. I want to thank Harry for providing this platform for Becky and I and our entire team, Lisa Lawson, John Kolb, everyone who works at Capital Mortgage Funding, Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289, the best mortgage banker. If you need a mortgage, be sure to call us. And again, sneak a call in here to the show live, 248-539-9797. If you are a buyer, Becky, we are here to help you. We roll out the red carpet.
Oh, we always are rolling out the red carpet. And I do want to talk about buyers right now because we're budding up to 2023, and this is that moment in time where everyone is thinking about their goals and what they want to do in the future. And I'm very big advocate on you are one decision away from a totally different life. You can be for the better, it can be for the worse. And so for the people that have been renting and you're sitting on the sidelines, stop being the wallflower. And I want to kind of direct this to Amy a little bit. So someone is reaching out to you. They're a first-time home buyer, and they are not sure about, they're scared of money. Do they have to pay for you to represent them as a real estate agent?
Hey, that's the best part. So I work for free for for buyers, right? You align with your buyer's agent. They're going to look for homes for you. They're going to negotiate on your behalf. They're going to make sure that the process goes smoothly all the way through. They're going to connect you with a great mortgage lender. They're going to take the very best care of you. And oh wait, I'm talking about me. I will do that for you. But seriously, I'm not the kind of real estate agent that's going to sit back and hope the right house comes on the market. If I know a buyer wants to be in a certain neighborhood, I am calling every house in that neighborhood and hoping that something will align or someone's been thinking about selling. I am the realtor that will go the extra mile and do the extra work for you because I want you to be where you want to be.
Well,
ultimately.
you do know that neighborhood, right? I mean, you know the neighborhoods you're working in.
Absolutely.
You know every house. You probably know everybody that's bought and sold within the last couple of years. You know that area, and you have to. If you're working with people that want to live in a certain area, you need to know everything about that area. Or else, how do you go ahead and impart all that knowledge and experience to somebody buying a house? You've got to know your area. I mean, that's just... And that's why Harvey makes fun of me. I drive neighborhoods. I drive subdivisions. If I don't know the area that I'm doing business in, what good am I? What good am I to our clients? I know the areas. I know the values of the houses too. So when I put in that rebuttal for Becky and she brings it to me and says, well, what do you think? It's a dangerous question, by the way. What do I think? What do you think? I'll say, yeah, I think we can get something out of this. Or I say, I don't know, Becky, these comps look really good.
Yeah, and that's true. And what we're talking about is knowing you got to work at your craft every day. If you want to be successful, whether it's in real estate like we're talking about, or even whatever you're doing in life, you have to constantly be working and owning your craft and your brand because people are always watching even when you don't think they are. And when it comes to knowing the market area, so if we get an appraisal that we feel there should have been better data there, we know that immediately. And that's why when an appraisal might come in light, we know we have a very high success rate of getting that appraiser to change from the red crayon to the blue crayon.
Right.
And it's based off of our knowledge, but also you back it up with data. You can't just be like, I want it to be $500,000 or more. You got to really be able to back it up. But then aligning with someone like Amy that's like all day long, here's these comps, because it's all you have to back it up. You can't just say it.
Yeah, quick lesson, 20-second story. Harvey comes to me, says, I don't like this appraisal. We jump in the car. We go down there. We took... an hour out of our day. We went down there. I took a look at the house. We went around. I said, Harvey, this is a good appraisal. What are we going to get? Ultimately, the guy closed. He got a better sales price, didn't he, Harvey?
Well, we only saved the guy $25,000 on
That's
a
it.
house.
That's
here.
all
Then
we
if you
did. We
deal
just
with
saved him
professionals-
$25,000.
Right, and it made sense.
Is that all?
It was still a win-win.
Hair flip.
Hey, anyways, it
That was
still a
less than
win-win.
20 seconds.
And
That
again-
was less 20 seconds. That's what we do. Jump in a car. We got to go take a look at it because if I'm going to fight something, I got to know what's going on.
Well, yeah, and that's a combination of a market knowledge and your skill set, right? You know, you've been in the industry long enough to know that. And honestly, for buyers out there, if you're thinking, you know what, next spring I want to buy a home, now is the time. There's a long process between, yes, I want to buy a home and getting to the closing table and actually getting into the home. So, you know, we're looking at shopping for a home, which can take usually 2 to 3 weeks. In the market that we're in, maybe we lose one offer in the in between and then go through the mortgage process, looking at 25 to 35 days. And then maybe the seller has occupancy post closing and all of a sudden we're in March. That's as spring as it gets. Can't wait.
That is so true. I mean, in the proper timelines and setting the proper expectations up front is everything. And that's why when I said earlier, you can't start the conversation soon enough because you can't see the house and then want to get pre-approved because what if your credit's not there? What if we need to fix it? Now you're adding time to this timeline because before you know it, it is going to be March and people are going to be out here banging on all the doors.
You said a little opportunity there. The credit piece is really important, especially if you spend a little bit too much money now during the holiday season. We want you to go out there and enjoy, but would rather you see get the right house come the springtime. So let's get that credit score bumped up a little bit. Call Capital Mortgage Funding. Our whole team can work on that credit piece for you. That's right. Alternative credit reporting is becoming very, very popular. You can get your rent reported now. You can get your utilities reported and other things to establish your credit score. And that works for a lot of different programs across the United States. And we offer all of those programs. So again, always urging families out there, do the right thing.
Yeah. I have a first-time home buyer right now that's in that situation. they're in a life-changing moment. They're getting out of a marriage. First time they're kind of getting out on their own, and their credit was just authorized users only, meaning that you're on my credit card, but it's not truly your credit card. So in a situation like that, immediately identified that, and I said, you need to go and open up your own credit card, start establishing your own debt. It's time for you to shine. But in the meantime, do you pay utilities? Do you have Comcast? Do you have car insurance? Because these are things that I can help establish that you are a credit-worthy buyer to make you look stronger. So it's identifying those situations immediately, because I'm a big advocate, and everyone at Capital Mortgage Funding is the same, where I would much rather do the heavy lifting up front than be 3 weeks down and have an agent be spending weeks with a buyer. You finally get the offer accepted, and all of a sudden I didn't do my due diligence and things started imploding that I could have avoided in the beginning. It's so unprofessional, and unfortunately there's a lot of lenders out there that just don't do that.
Amy, we're getting into the end of our show here. And again, our last show for 2022. We want to, again, reach out again. If you want to call 248-539-9797 at the office, 1-800-LOW-RATE, all holiday season. We have a full staff all weekend long. And again, it doesn't cost anything to work with true professionals. We don't take hostage money. You know how I feel about that, Harry.
Yeah.
We really, truly, again, I wouldn't hang around there, ask Harry, for 28, 29 years unless we could get the job done for you, and you're going to save money here in Metro Detroit. We've been bringing this show for 23 years. Amy, going into the end of our show here in 2023, let's talk some positivity that's really families can look forward to.
Well, honestly, like I would be amiss if I didn't talk about the seller side of things, working with EXP. So normally an agent's going to put a sign in your yard. They're going to put it on the MLS and, good luck. And maybe they'll put it on their Facebook, their social media. Well, EXP, the difference is we are like legit family. So every one of the agents in our group, they're going to post that listing like it's their own, giving you max exposure. Maybe their friends that hadn't even thought about looking for a house sees your house and they say, that is the house for me. That is a house I've been waiting for. That's the one that's going to make me move. And so your exposure is so huge. And I'm like, we're this big family. I love my EXP peeps. They were hyping me up before the show, encouraging me. And I love that community, and all the way around. It will give you the best experience. We always joke, no one knows what EXP stands for. Well, exposure to the market or experience.
I like that. And it's collaboration over competition. And I love what the industry has evolved to. We are now the next generation that's reaching down and pulling the people up with us, because we want to make sure that I want to leave the industry better than I found it.
Absolutely.
And I know you feel the same way. And, but as we're wrapping up, because this is the last show of the year, I want to hear at least one really cool success story of a first-time home buyer or even a seller, because it's important that I like to positivity is everything. And I think that we don't shine a light enough on these little situations that are huge situations for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a couple that just come to mind where a girl, she had another real estate agent that she just couldn't win with. The very first offer we wrote won. And it was one of those things where she was so grateful and so thankful. And she it felt so good, because I love giving people what they want. Of course, that's my ultimate goal for sure. My other success story was I was at a house and there was a staircase. There was a little girl and she went backwards and rolled down 5 steps. And all of us were standing there, eyes wide open. There were 5 adults standing there. I had someone shadowing me that day, an agent. And we're all eyes wide open, and I'm like, her neck is broken. And she pops right up and she's like, that was fun. And we were, that's my other success story is.
Like the little kid story.
I witnessed someone not break their neck.
I was like, okay, this is a success. I don't know.
I mean, you never know what's happening in real estate. It's not just one thing. And you're talking about you're at someone's house and that things happen. But I mean, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, thank goodness nothing happened.
Yes, exactly.
Right time of year.
Yeah, right time of year.
No
I got a
intended.
good success story. So I have a client, they're on a land contract, and they have been trying to own this house for years. And the situation was, it was an unrecorded land contract. And most people think that you can do a refinance on land contracts, and you can as long as it's recorded. But I identified, and she's like, we tried with, I'm not going to name the big box lender, another lender. I mean, there's literally 4 lenders she named. And for 2 years they tried. I was like, well, it's because you're trying to refinance and it truly needs to be done as a purchase.
Right.
So let's set you up on the right path. They closed yesterday in tears. The seller, they're finally
That's great.
owned the home. They've invested so much in their house. And I'm so grateful that I got to be a part of that experience and that success story, because they're never going to forget that. And they're in their house officially for
That's
Christmas.
so cool.
Yes,
And I want to
girl.
thank all of our teammates, Capital Mortgage Funding, and our national partners at Fairway. I'm grateful to work with you guys and them every single day, bring people, the joy of home ownership, saving them money, saved hundreds of thousands of families, millions of dollars over the years. I'm just very, very blessed to be able to do that, and I want to thank you, and I look forward to another great year in 2023 with all of you.
Salute and cheers to all the buyers and sellers out there. We got Pat Caputo coming up with sports next. Keep your eye on 97 on the ticket.
Shout out to Amy Ropp, killing it today.
Thank you, Amy, for
Fantastic,
coming
Amy,
in.
and all the great agents who have been on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We will see you in 2023. We'll be back on January 7th. Be sure to call us at Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage bankers. See you next year.